that was previously struck in the weekend drone strikes was hit again, according to the city's mayor. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Ukraine's drone strikes on Moscow were meant to deflect from a purported lack of success on the battlefield. Moscow says, in response, the intensity of its strikes against Ukrainian military facilities has been considerably increased. No casualties were reported in the attempted Moscow drone strikes. However, Russian bombardments in Ukraine have struck civilian homes, schools, hospitals, churches and power plants, killing thousands of bystanders in the process. In fact, a day after, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the war was returning to Russia. In the immediate aftermath of a series of attempted drone strikes on Moscow, the Kremlin launched a deadly airstrike against the Ukrainian president's hometown of Kryvyi Rih. 6 people were killed and at least 75, including a 5-year-old girl, were injured after 2 of Russia's sophisticated Iskander ballistic missiles struck a residential building and a university building. 2 missiles landed close to the center of the central Ukrainian city. Among the dead was a 10-year-old girl and her 45-year-old mother. A regional administration leader said one of the dead was found trapped under the rubble of a destroyed laboratory at the university. Residents said there were no air raid sirens before the missiles struck and took out significant portions of these 2 buildings. Some said they had little time to scramble for cover. It is not clear why Russia targeted Kryvyi Rih. Ukrainian officials say there are no military targets nearby. The head of the local defense council called the bombardment a terrorist attack. The Russian Defense Ministry has not commented on this. Moscow has repeatedly denied targeting civilian infrastructure despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. On Monday, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said the Kremlin would intensify its attacks in response to Kiev's attempted drone strikes against Moscow the previous day, which damaged a business and shopping development area in the west of the capital. The Russian Defense Ministry said it intercepted 1 drone while 2 others crashed in the city. The mayor said 2 office towers were slightly damaged, but there were no reports of any casualties. Russian forces also claimed on Sunday to have intercepted and downed 25 Ukrainian drones in Crimea, which Moscow seized from Ukraine back in 2014. Meanwhile, Kiev is set to begin discussing long-term security measures with Washington this week. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is expected to attend a Ukrainian-backed peace summit in Saudi Arabia to discuss sensitive planning. Russia is not attending the summit, which is reportedly intended to give Ukraine's backers and other countries a chance to align positions on how to end the war. On Sunday, Zelensky said the war is coming back to Russia and Ukraine is getting stronger. He said, and I quote, "Today is the 522nd day of the so-called special military operation, which the Russian leadership thought would last a couple of weeks. Gradually, the war is returning to the territory of Russia, to its symbolic centers and military bases, and this is an inevitable, natural, and absolutely fair process." President Vladimir Putin, meanwhile, has claimed that Russia has not rejected peace talks, but Kiev's current approach is not conducive for it. And ratcheting up the war rhetoric yet again, former Russian president and close Putin ally Dmitry Medvedev recently said Moscow would have to use a nuclear weapon if Kiev's ongoing counter-offensive is a success. Medvedev, who is deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, a body chaired by Putin himself, said on social media there would be no other option if Ukraine took what he described as our land. Moscow, located about 500 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, has rarely been targeted since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. But Russia has accused Ukraine of launching a series of drone strikes on its territory in recent months, including on the capital. In May, for instance, Russia claimed that Ukraine used 2 drones to attack the Kremlin, the very seat of power in Moscow. Ukraine denied attacking the Kremlin or targeting President Putin. These drone attacks are an opportunity, some say, for Zelensky to address the Russian people, the majority of whom appear to believe that Moscow's invasion of Ukraine was justified. If they begin to worry about the explosions taking place close to home and view it in the context of the war in Ukraine, Zelensky believes it makes it a bit harder for Putin to justify his invasion, which he's only looking to expand, according to Zelensky.
Overnight, the Kyiv regime carried out an attempted terrorist attack using 3 enemy naval drones on Russian civilian transport ships en route to the Bosphorus Strait in the southwestern Black Sea.
All right. Of course, this is a story we'll continue to track closely here on Global Lens. Time for us to take another quick break here, but don't go anywhere. There's lots more coming up on the other side, including the latest developments involving Aung San Suu Kyi in Myanmar. Stay tuned.
मैं इमरान अहमद खान न्याजी सबके दिल से हल्फ उठाता हूँ.
When Imran Khan came initially into politics, he thought his personal popularity would be sufficient for him. It didn't happen.
The retired military